another great friend, Dr. Hemant Kumar, and our young gentleman who is going to take you to the world of robotics, Mr. Moola Shankar. The very name itself is very inspiring. It takes you to the origin of Shankar. Shankar is Robo today. And he takes you to the origin of Robo. Moola Shankar is over here. And my wonderful colleagues over here. And upcoming technocrats, promising youth for the upcoming India. Very, very good morning to all of you. The moment I was asked to be present with this Robotics, what flashed in my mind was Jawaharlal Nehru's speech, Triced with Destiny. From the days of Triced with Destiny to this day, we are going to spend 2 eventful days discussing on the Triced with Robotics. Would definitely be a wonderful evening. But then, we have heard Professor Baswaraj very cautiously. His warnings are very understandable. After all, the science and technology should enhance the wisdom of humankind. It is not the doomsdom of the humankind. The choice is not because of science and technology. The choice is because of the weak mind in the useless man of the earth. The choice of trusting the doomsdom is because of a careless individual on the earth who really has no concern for the world, really has no concern for the mankind. Idiots are those sets of people who cannot live for the earth. Science and technology did not ever tell you that I should be abused. Nobody will tell you that I should be abused. But then, it's the choice of the human being. The doomsdom, the devil, and the great God both live together in the same man. And the choice whether you would like to worship the God within you, or you would like to prosper the doomsdom or the devil within you, is to be decided by us. But then, I just give 2 examples with the robots with which I was associated. I was in France. I was also associated with a medical school in France. There, I was taken to show the robo working very live. It was a case of blood clot in the brain. It was just a case of blood clot in the brain. Doctors had made the diagnosis, that's all. Doctor's job was to make only diagnosis. All types of images were used, X-ray, MRI, every image was used. And the spot of the medical clot was clearly indicated on a 3-dimensional picture, both on r theta phi coordinates, both on the 3D r theta phi as well as on XYZ. Patient was unable to sit. His condition was so bad that he was unable to sit. Therefore, the patient was made to lie on the bed, made to lie on the flat table. Robo automatically got twisted. Look at the interesting point. After all, what you had was the r theta phi coordinates relative to that X-ray screen. XYZ coordinates relative to the X-ray screen. And you know, the robo screen will not work on relative to this X-ray screen, it works some with reference to some other screen. Not only that, the whole place was entirely different. So the first adaptation was to the total coordinate system. In fact, In a common mathematical language, the robot had to work in a flipped transposed version now because the patient was unable to sit, he had to recline. So the robot not only has got to transpose and also has to work in the flipped version. Who is going to do all this? Naturally, robot will not do anything by itself. It's you, the great algorithm developers. I am very cautiously telling you, it is algorithm developers, it is the data structure developers who would do this job, not the down the line last man who is going to code the system. Coding will not do anything. It's the algorithm development with the data structure which really solves this problem. Then coming over to the beauty of the problem, as a common man look at it, is very simple. Robot did everything, and Robo, on the screen of Robo, simulated work of Robo was shown to the doctor. The first job was simulated version of the Robo was shown to the doctor. The Robo piercing the head, and Robo's needle going straight to the point of blood clot, and Robo sucking the blood. It has got to suck that blood clot, and then immediately should come out. Immediately another arm of the robot should go and put the antibiotics into the spot. One arm will be doing, another arm will twist, and immediately it will go into the same hole and put the antibiotics and then see. That's all. So wonderful, but that was simulation. After simulation, the group of doctors would say yes. Then the entire action was less than 45 seconds. Alright? Just piercing, the whole needle getting into that spot, and that's a needle groove. It sucks. It's like a filler, it sucks. And then another, immediately the arm twists, and then it goes, loads the antibiotic, comes out. Almost bloodless. It's not 100% bloodless, but almost bloodless. Instantaneous. With no human error. And with no choice for a possibility of a devilism, for the possibility of a doomsdom in the mind of a doctor, in the brain of a doctor. At the last minute, if the doctor decides that I am his enemy, he could ultimately get surgical failure. Alright? So that was one robot which I happened to see. But ultimately, look at the entire problem. Only diagnosis was done by a doctor. The simulation screen was done by electronics and computer experts. The very robot was designed by mechanical engineers. Very robot. The movement, quick movement, frictionless movement, and the frictionless movement, instantaneous transient movement. Transient movement, you should be very careful. When the transient movement happens, the moment it touches here, you should not make the cracks over here. The transient effect has got to be controlled. And behind the transient effect, who is the person? After all, it is a mathematician, because it's a differential equation. It is moving with the speed of second order, d2y by dt square, d square theta by dt square. In fact, it is moving when it is moving. And at that time, the transient effect, because there is a friction over here, there is an obstruction over here, at that time the remaining part of the skull should not get broken. Okay? The complementary function and particular integral are the two solutions, and this should never get into particular integral. It has got to work in the complementary state, complementary function, the solution to the transient state. At that solution to transient state, you know that second order differential equation will have 2c1 e to the power m1x plus e2 e to the power m2x. E exponential m1x plus m2x should be so much controlled that it should not make the remaining part. Who does it? The applied mathematician, not the mathematicians who work out mathematics on the board. Not the mathematicians who prove the theorem day in, day out. Not those mathematicians who pass the examination of the university, but the mathematicians who are creating enough to apply this mathematics to solve a typical techno-engineering problem. That is the way the computer engineers and the electronic engineers have to play the integrated role of solving all this. Next comes that virtual reality, the simulation screen, because ultimately a medical doctor who is diagnosed has got to say yes to do the job. Then comes the real operation where naturally, like the Mars mission when it went to space, how many engineers were watching all over, how many technocrats were watching all over to control the health of that spacecraft. Like that, you are the promising youngsters of tomorrow. You are the promising torchbearers of tomorrow. You are going to invent. Obviously, in your invention, the iota of doomsday shall not work. Obviously, in your invention, on whom this robot would be employed shall not be very important. It could be on the very person who might have spoiled your life. Wonderful, there is nothing wrong in that. But then, you are over there to solve this particular problem. Another robot was a moving robot. This was in Japan. I was in Saitama prefecture. We were taken to some moving robot demonstration. In that demonstration, there was one Indian lady also on that day. The whole point was the robots would be moving. If any human being were to cut, it would stop. You are not going, your robot is not going to ask you to stop, it would automatically stop, make way for you. Alright? So that was a wonderful robot. In fact, they showed that even a child below the height of robot sensor would go, even the robot would stop. In other words, they are fitting sensors even at the leg level, not only at this level, the sensors. Right? So they showed that even a sensor, of course, the small thing like a rat and all, it was not able to perceive it, but anything little above rat, little above cat, little above, Japan is full of cats. Little above cat, a cat, it would stop, automatically the robot would stop. So the interesting part of the robot was, it would not only see, the algorithm was so written that it could make some judgment about the object that it would have tasked. You should be able to tell that I crossed a cat, I crossed this, you should be able to make that. So this Indian lady was asked to go in front of the robot. The robot stopped. Then the Japanese engineer pressed a button. Robot said, this looks like a lady. The Indian lady, it did not tell it is a lady, it looks like a lady. And then this Japanese engineer asked, why do you tell that she is a lady? Why are you telling that it looks like a lady? I am not able to understand whatever is put here. She had that kumkumam here as a typical lady. And the robot was designed for a flat forehead. It was designed for a very flat forehead with only some skin marks or some surgical marks, but it did not understand the superficial front layer which was put over there. So this was another interesting problem. See, ultimately, this second example should tell you the lack of domain knowledge while you created the algorithm on the robot. That's all. Okay? Therefore, the awareness, the presence of people who are behind the robot while creating the entire algorithm are more important. I am sure the next 2 days that you are going to have this robot knowledge would cover all of them. Would cover, in fact, I went through 2 or 3 case studies which we are going to discuss. When I went through 2 or 3 case studies, I really felt sorry for our computer science people. The whole robot operations, particularly one of the robot which is an edge walking robot on a table which does not fall out of the edge of the table is a wonderful point which could convey a lot of things. Not merely algorithms, not merely data structures, also the vision, the sensors, everything. But most important point is that reminded me of Kamala Hassan's dance in one Sajara Sangamam, right? Kamala Hassan's dance in Sajara Sangamam across an edge, put across the wall, and put across the well. Okay, he would dance. Then he was drunk. That doesn't mean that you should be drunk and practice that. He was drunk and he balances. What's that balancing even at the state of being drunk? When we are not drunk, we act more than drunk. And now in this movie, the display is Kamala Hassan was drunk for good reason, but you don't need to have a reason to be drunk. But still, that was for a good reason, you sympathize. And then he balances himself. The subconscious doesn't, because his conscious is out of control. The subconscious doesn't. And in other words, there is an auto control system inside the whole system. Unfortunately, computer science, information science, people who are most expected to take up these problems, unfortunately they don't go through these hardcore engineering subjects, hardcore stability analysis. So unless a robot, unless you know what is stability analysis, your algorithms cannot incorporate those aspects of creating the stability. While a moving robot has got to be ensured. A robot which negotiates a curve. One point is when it is negotiating a curve, you know that tan theta should be equal to V square by Rg. That is one point. The second point is internal stability, because the gravity of the robot, center of gravity of the robot should not get shifted, that it would topple down. Alright? Who is going to do all these things? But this reminds me one thing. It is not only computer engineers who would be having this tryst with robot. It is always the collective wisdom of all technocrats. It is mechanical engineering, it is electrical engineering, it is electronics engineering, it is systems engineer, it is by and large the computer engineer, vision engineer, sensor engineers, communication engineer, by and large, all of them have got to work. All of them have got to be together in creating the wonder pieces of tomorrow. Wonder pieces which would not really come to spoil your life, to control your life, but to supplement your life. Naturally, why such a wonderful brain should waste its time in washing the clothes? A good robot is necessary to wash the clothes. Towards the end, I just give one more example. This example was that of a mother of a great engineer who created a robot. Mom, I created a robot. And he said, Mom, I have created a robot which can walk around our garden, which can water all the plants. Mom said, my dear son, I can do that I can do that work for myself. But can you design one robot which would press the clothes which I am doing for you every day? Try to think of pressing a shirt or pressing a pant. So complicated job. A wrong pressing would give a wrong impression on the shirt, on which you have got to still put the water dot and again run the press iron on that. Alright? And Mom tells, my dear son, invent a robot which can press your shirt, because you have been asking me to press the shirt all these years. So can you invent one such robot which, instead of watering the plants all around in the garden, which I can do because I could enjoy a good sunshine, you better invent a robot which can press the shirt. That was a wonderful request by the great mother. And all of you know that the next upcoming years is the event of international football game by robots. You know that, you might be aware of that. Already different nations have created robo players, all right, including extra players. They are expecting that even when the robots play, there could be a red card, there could be a yellow card also. Therefore, they have a replacement. They are expecting that there could be an unavoidable collision because of which robo may lose its leg. Robo may not be able to run. Therefore, they have created extra players. In fact, I am very keen to look into these football matches because that clearly shows the supremacy of the knowledge exercised by the youngsters in the field collectively. I am very proud of this particular field because this particular field integrates all class of people together. And the purpose is to integrate, the purpose is to serve the humanity. I am again cautioning you, and again I accept all the warnings dealt by Professor Basuraj that ultimately any scientific technocratic invention should be for wisdom, not for doomsdom. I am very sure the youngsters over here are the wise set of people who are wiser than the present generation, who shall mind only the humanity, who should just mind only the purpose of creating a wonderful world. Days are givers. Enjoy the day. And to enjoy the future, enjoy the next 2 days with Mr. Mola Shankar. Thank you very, very much.